Welcome everyone to Yoga Basics. Today, the props that we will be using are a yoga strap. If you have 2 blocks, grab your blocks. If not, at least 1 block, and a chair. So have that nearby too. And then we'll start by sitting down on the mat, on preferably a couple of folded blankets, or even sitting on your block. Legs can be folded or extended out in front of you. And we'll just take a few moments to prepare ourselves by closing the eyes and turning the attention inward. Shutting out the busyness and chaos of the day. And just doing a little scan of the body and making note of any areas of tension or tightness. And then taking 2 deep cleansing breaths. So take a nice big inhale through the nose and exhale it all out by blowing or sighing it out. And one more nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then soften the muscles of the face. Relax the muscles of the neck and the shoulders. And then turning the attention to the breath. Notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. And then we'll begin a nice, even breathing. Inhaling and exhaling to a count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And just continue with this nice, even breathing. If at any time it makes you lightheaded or dizzy, just go back to your own normal breathing pattern. And then we also set an intention for each practice to help remind us why we are here. So that may be a benefit you would like to receive, or just an uplifting or a positive thought or a phrase. So think of an intention that you'd like to have for your practice today. And then with your next inhale, go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. If you do have your legs folded and you want to switch that top leg, go ahead and do that. And then we'll begin the warm-up by turning our heads to look out over that right shoulder and coming back to center and turning to look out over the left and back to center, dropping the chin to the chest and then picking the chin up towards the ceiling and jetting that lower jaw out. And coming back to center and dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. And back to center and left ear to left shoulder. And back to center, extending the hands out in front, open and close the fingers. And then some wrist circles. And reverse. And then we're going to do a little extra yoga posture, I guess you could call it, for our wrists. These are called arm pretzels. So we're going to extend the arms out in front. Just have your palms facing each other. Take the left wrist and cross it over the right. So your thumbs are still pointing up. And then rotate the hands so that your thumbs are now pointing down towards the floor. Your palms are facing each other and you can clasp your hands. And then taking the elbows out to the side, drop your hands down and then circle them around. If you can, maybe even pull the hands down a little bit. Otherwise, just keep them about chest high. So you can see how we're working the wrists here, giving them a little stretch. You should be able to do this without any discomfort or pain though. So if you have wrist issues and that bothers them, then absolutely discontinue doing this. Good. And then dropping those hands back down, circling them back out and release. Shake them out a little bit, and then we'll try it on the other side. So now the right wrist crosses over the left. Circle the hands so you can clasp them, and then the same thing. Drop the hands around and circle around. Good. And just continue to breathe. This helps to stimulate bone cells in the wrists. By putting weight on the wrist too, when we do like hands and knees, go ahead and drop those hands down, release, shake them out. You're building strength in the wrist. As we get older, the wrist is like the second most common site of fracture after the hip. So want to keep those wrists strong. All right, bringing the hands down, we'll focus on our shoulders by doing some shrugs. Good, and then the next time you pick the shoulders up, roll them to the back. Good. Bringing the shoulders back to neutral, extending the elbows out, this time bringing the fingertips together, and then without moving the torso, just lifting one elbow and then the other. Good, warming up the muscles around the scapula. Good. All right, come back to center, release those hands down. Take your right hand, place it outside the right hip. Inhale, sweep that left arm up, and exhale, bend to the right. Good, coming back to center, switch arms, inhale, and exhale to the left. Good, and then back to center. Coming into a twist, we'll take the left hand on the right knee. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale, turn and look to the right. Just bringing that right hand around behind you. Good, and then releasing back to center. Switch hands. Inhale, and exhale, turn and look to the left. Good. And then releasing back to center, go ahead and extend the legs out in front of you if you have them folded, and just shake them out a little bit. And then taking your hands behind that right thigh, we'll pull the knee in and extend the leg. Just get that blood flowing again to your legs. Good, and then the next time you bend the knee, just hold it there, point and flex the foot. And then some ankle circles. And reverse. Good, and switch legs. So left, bend and extend. And then hold that knee in so you can point and flex the foot. And ankle circles. Good, and reverse. Good. And then bringing that left leg down, we're going to come onto our hands and knees. And if you would like to open up your blanket, go ahead and do that. We are going to come back onto our hands and knees after we do cat, cow, and down dog. So the blanket may be helpful. All right. So then coming onto hands and knees for cat, cow. Remember to keep the wrists under the shoulders. Here's where you're building some of that wrist strength. Remember I said when we have our hands on the mat and the weight in the wrists. And then knees under the hips, hip width apart. With an inhale, lift the chest and the sits bones for cow. And then exhale, press into those hands, rounding the spine, dropping the chin to the chest. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale. And exhale. And once more, inhale. And exhale. Good. Bringing the spine back to neutral. And then coming into child's pose. You'll want to support the head by stacking the fist or grabbing your block, either one. And just take a few breaths here. Good, and then we'll extend the arms out in front of us, come back up to hands and knees, and then coming into either puppy pose or downward facing dog. So puppy, you're going to extend the arms out in front. I usually come up on my fingertips just to lift the chest a little bit, and then drop the chest down towards the floor, keeping the hips over the knees. So this would be puppy, or pressing into those hands, curl your toes, lift the hips. As you press into the hands, extend through the arms and shoulders. And then just taking a few breaths in either one. If you're in down dog,
possibly walking the dog, just bending one knee and then the other, or keeping both knees bent. And breathe. Good, and then with your exhale, go ahead and bring your knees back down to the mat. And we're going to come into a lateral pose. So we're going to use our block, and I'm going to turn so you can see me. So here's where the blanket will come in handy if you don't have your blanket opened up yet. All right, so we're going to come into a kneeling position. Have your block on your right side. Just put the block down there. All right, so putting your right hand on the block so you can shift the weight to the right, and then you're going to extend your left foot out to the side. Now, ideally, your left toes will line up with your right knee. And then you're going to keep your hand either on the block, or you could even bring the hand down to the mat. So I'll show you it with your block. And then inhale. So here are your options. You can just bring the left arm up, or you can bring it up overhead, similar to side angle when we've done standing. Good, and then take a few breaths. And then we're going to add a little arm movement here. So even if your arm is up here, we're going to start this nice big circle with that left arm. Good. Just work within your own range of motion here, but hopefully you can get a couple circles going. Good. Then reverse. Good, and as you sweep that arm back up, you can lift the torso, and then use your block if you want to change height, if that's easier to step that left leg back in, and then we'll try it on the other side. So the left hand will go on the block, extend the right leg, again try to line up your toes with your knee. So right toes line up with that left knee. Good. All right. Left hand stays on the block or on the mat. And then sweep that right arm up or over your head. And just take a few breaths. Good. And then we'll start with our arm circle. Good, and then as you bring it down now, reverse. And as you sweep it up, then go ahead and lift the torso. Now you could use your block, put it on that higher level to step the right foot in. We're going to come up to standing from here. So if you then, again, use your block to step a foot forward, curl your back toes, and then step up. Okay, let's go ahead and put the blanket to the side. And we'll put the block to the side. And then just have your chair close by. I'm gonna put it right here for right now. And coming into the middle of the mat, we'll start in Tadasana. So we're going to try something a little different, just to kind of challenge our balance. Normally when we stand in Tadasana, we have our feet hip-width apart. I want you to bring your feet together, and I just want you to notice the difference. So when your feet are hip-width apart, obviously you have a little wider base, you have a little better balance. So by bringing your feet in and narrowing that base, you're working those core muscles a little more. So today we're going to stand with the feet relatively close together. You're still finding the four corners of the feet, so no weight in your toes. Lift up through the arches, tighten the front of the thighs. Arms alongside the body. Good, lift and tighten the abdominals. Lengthen up through the spine. Pick those shoulders up, roll them down the back so the chest is lifted. Stacking the ears over the shoulders. Chin is parallel as you gaze forward. And just taking a few breaths here. Good. All right. Now we are going to go wide. So you're going to widen those feet. And then you're going to turn your toes out, bring the heels in, and we're going to come into goddess pose. So that is a deep squat. So as you squat, you want to line up your knees with your toes. So you may have to adjust where your feet are. Remember, as you squat, you want to keep the torso lifted. So make sure you're not bending forward like this. Okay, so maybe you're just here. That's fine. All right, take a nice big inhale. Start by placing those hands at those leg creases. Remind you that that's where you're bending from. Come down as far as it's comfortable, and you can hold it for a minute or two, because now we're going to bring our arms up to goddess. So they look like a goalpost. And then we're just going to do a little movement of the arms. So we're going to keep the left hand there, and you're going to drop the right forearm down. Elbow stays lifted. And then you're going to switch. Good. And switch. This is one of those mind games that by doing this, it takes your mind off of how your legs are feeling. Good. Because you should probably be feeling that in those glutes and thighs. Good. Bring those hands back up. Good. And then inhale, come on up, relax those arms down, shake it out. Keeping that wide stance, turn your left foot forward, continue to turn the right foot out as we come into Warrior Two. So you want to have your right heel in line with your left instep, and then you're going to bend the right knee. Good. From the waist up, you'll turn and face the front, and then bring those arms up to shoulder height, and turn to look out over that middle right finger. Good. Keep those abs tight. Continue to breathe. Good. Press into your right heel and the pinky toe side of that left foot. Then with your inhale, straighten the right leg. We're going to come into triangle. Exhale, lean to the right as far as you can. The weight will go on that left hip. And then when you've gone as far as you can, bring that right hand down. It'll either be on your thigh or your shin. Left arm comes up, or you can keep it on your hip or tuck it behind the back. Good. Continue to breathe. And then focus on your hips. Make sure you haven't pushed that left hip too far forward. You want to try to keep your hips and your shoulders in line with one another. Good. And then with your inhale, lift the torso, relax the arms, shake it out a little bit. Turn that right foot in, and we'll try it on the left. So left foot turns out, again, lining up the heel with the instep of the right foot. Bend the left knee, stack it right over the ankle. From the waist up, turn to the front, lift the arms, drop the shoulders, turn to look out over that middle left finger. Good. Return the breath to that nice, even breathing. Good. And then from here, inhale, straighten that left leg. Exhale, shift the weight towards the right so you can lean to the left as far as you can. Drop that left hand down. Either sweep the right arm up, palm facing forward, hand on the hip, or hand behind the back. And then try to focus on opening up that right shoulder. Tighten the front of the left thigh. That'll help protect the knee joint. Good, and continue to breathe. Good, and then with your next inhale, lift the torso, release the arms. Turn that left foot forward. Go ahead and do a little heel-toe walk till you can step the legs together. And then just do a couple little wiggles with your shoulders or shrugs. All right, so we're going to do some balancing work right now. Here's where the chair comes in. So bring your chair to the short end of the mat. If you are near a wall, having the chair up against the wall would be the best because you've got a lot of stability there. If not, make sure that at least the front legs are on the mat so that your chair doesn't slide. All right, so the first pose we're going to do, we're not going to use the chair for this one. This is Stork pose. So you're going to stand in Tadasana. We'll shift the weight over to the right leg. Now, if you need to, just go closer to the chair so you can keep your right hand on the chair. You're going to bend the left knee and bring it directly in front of you. So not like tree, you're out to the side. We're just coming to the front. See if you can bring the knee not shoulder height, hip height, and then bring that left arm up. Now, options are to keep that right hand on the chair, find your gazing point. If you're okay, then releasing, bringing both arms up. Good, and breathe. Good, and then exhale, bring the arms down. Go ahead and turn around if you did use the chair, if you needed the chair. I'm not going to bother to move the chair right now, but use the chair if you need to. All right, shift the weight over to the left leg. You're going to bend the right knee. Now, if you need to keep your toes on the floor, then stay here and here. If you're okay, then picking that knee up, bringing the foot up off the floor, find that gazing point, and breathe. Good, and then as you exhale, go ahead and bring that right leg down. So shake everything out. And here's where the chair is going to come in. So we're going to do similar to Stork, only we're going to add a twist to it. So we're going to stand facing the chair. Let's start by shifting the weight into the left leg. You're going to take the right foot and you're going to place it on the chair. Now, you don't want to stand too far back from the chair. Ideally, I'm probably a little too far back. Ideally, you want your left hip over your left knee. And then the right knee should be over the right ankle. Good. All right, so facing forward, you're going to inhale to lengthen, extend the left arm up, and with your exhale, begin to turn to the right. Bring your left hand to the outside of that right knee, and then extend the right arm behind you. See if you can turn and look to the right. So this is a little more challenging because you're taking your eyes off of center. If that makes you too unstable, then just gaze forward. Good. And continue to breathe. Good. And then release back to center. Step that right foot down. Now I'm going to show you for the other side, but if you want to try this at home, you don't have to use the chair. You can come back into Stork. I don't know if I can do this without the chair. See, it's hard. And just balance here, even without the chair. I personally like the chair because I think you can go a little deeper into the pose. But if you would like to try it without the chair, you can try that on your own. Okay, here we go. We're facing the chair again. Weights in the right leg. This time, left foot goes on the chair. So again, you want to stand up nice and tall. Have that standing leg so your hip, knee, and ankle are all in a nice straight line. Good. Bring the right arm alongside the body. Inhale, sweep that arm up. And with your exhale, begin to turn to the left. Bring that right hand now to the outside of the left knee. And then extend the left arm behind you. Again, if you can, turn and look to the left. If that throws your balance off a little too much, then just gaze forward. Or you could even gaze this way, whatever helps you. Find your gazing point. And breathe. Good. And then exhale, release. Go ahead and step that left foot off the chair. Shake out those legs. And then we'll put the chair back to the side. And we're going to come down on the mat. We're going to start on hands and knees, and then we're going to lower ourselves down. So if you would like to open up your blanket, I would open it to this wider, this is just folded in fourths here. And do that, because then that way when you come down on the mat, the pelvis has a little padding also. All right, in the meantime, we're going to start on hands and knees. So you've got your knees and shins on the blanket. And we're going to do a bird dog. So this is a great core strengthener. So just like cat-cow, we're stacking the wrists under the shoulders, knees are hip-width apart and under the hips. So it's an opposite arm and leg posture. So extend the right arm and the left toes. Tighten the abdominals and then see if you can lift. And then bring those back down. Now, go ahead and continue on the other side. I'm going to show you. If that's too challenging for you, then just break it down. Just try to lift one arm and then the other. If you're okay there, then try extending one leg and then the other. And then you can add that opposite arm and leg. So as your core begins to get stronger, then you can come here. Keeping those abs tight supports the low back. Take your time here. Focus on those muscles. Good. Let's do once more each side. Good. All right, coming back to hands and knees. Walk your knees so that they're behind your hips, and then lower yourself down to the mat. All right, so we're going to come into Locust Pose. I'm just going to move my stuff right here. So we're going to start by extending the arms out at shoulder height, just placing your forehead on the mat. And we want to get the legs lined up first. So picking up that right leg just a little bit off the mat, reach through your big toe, and then rotate the thigh inward, laying the leg back down. Try it on the left. Good. So as you lay the legs down, the heels will fall out to the side, and you should feel a widening at the base of the pelvis. Then you're going to pull the tailbone down towards the heels, press the pubic bone into the mat, and with your next inhale, begin to lift the back of the neck, the shoulders, the arms, and the chest, and then the legs. Just keeping the neck in line with the spine, gazing down. Come back to your even breathing. Good, and then with the exhale, as you lower down, this time bring the arms alongside the body, turn the palms up, and just turn your head either way so that your cheek is resting on the mat. And just completely relax it out. Good, and then we'll take our hands, slide them up under your shoulders, curl your toes, push yourself back up into hands and knees, sweep your legs to the side, so you lower the hips down, extend your legs out in front of you. Go ahead and fold your blanket up, and then we're actually going to sit on the blanket and grab your strap. Hopefully my strap's over there. Good. All right, so we're going to start with the legs extended. We're going to do a twist. We'll keep the left leg extended. You're going to bend the right knee and just slide that foot in towards your sits bone. Distribute the weight evenly on either hip. And then with an inhale, lift and extend through the spine. And then as you exhale, we're going to go to the right. So those lower left ribs turn first. Take that left arm, wrap it around the right knee. Pull that right knee in towards you. And then bring the right hand around behind you as you turn and look to the right. Good, and breathe. Good, and then releasing the twist back to center, and then switching legs. So right leg is extended. So your knees and toes are facing up, and you're going to press through that heel. And then bend the left knee, slide that foot in. Inhale to lengthen, and then as you begin to turn to the left, use your right arm to hug that left knee in towards you. Bring the left hand around behind you as you turn, and look to the left. Good, and then we'll release the twist back to center. Extending the legs. Make sure you have your strap nearby. And I'm going to give you two options here. We're going to come into a forward fold. We'll leave the left leg extended. You can either bend the right knee, so I'm going to shift the weight over to that left hip to bend my left or my right knee. Bend the right knee, bring your right foot to the outside of the right hip. But you have to be able to shift your weight back to the right so that you can distribute it. If this is too much on that knee joint, then just take that right foot, bend the knee, but slide the sole of the right foot into the left inner thigh and stay here. So you're either here in what we call Savasana, or this bent knee one. I've got to get my blanket out of the way here. There we go, so that you can distribute the weight evenly. So if you find you're leaning here, go back to Savasana. If not, we'll stay here. This is called Eka Pada Paschimottanasana. All right, we're taking that strap, placing it around the left ball of the foot, holding on. You could do both hands here. Good. Inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, bending from the hip, just bringing the chest forward a little bit, tightening the top of that left thigh. You just want to feel a nice deep stretch in the back of that left leg. Good. Make sure you're not rounding the spine. And continue to breathe. You could, without rounding, if you want to hold on to your toes, but it's probably a little safer for your back. Good. And then go ahead and release. Remove that strap. We'll try it on the other side. So extend the right leg. Again, you're welcome to just slide that sole of the left foot to the right inner thigh, or move over here. Folding that left knee, bringing the left foot to the outside of the left hip. All right. And then your strap goes across the ball of that right foot. And then inhale to lengthen through the spine, pull the shoulders down the back as you've extended the arms, tighten the front of the right thigh. Good, feel that nice stretch in that hamstring. And breathe. Good, and then go ahead and release your torso back up. Remove your strap. And then we're going to come down on our backs. If you do have two blocks, grab your blocks. We're going to do a reclined, or what's called supta, meaning we're supine or on our backs, Bandha Konasana. So you're used to Bandha Konasana here. We're going to do this on our back. So the blocks are handy to support the thighs. If you don't have the blocks, don't worry about it, but if you do, I'll show you how you can use them. All right, and you may want to put your blanket now under your head because we'll then go into Savasana. All right, so lowering yourself down on the mat. So what you want to do is bend your knees And then you're going to bring the soles of the feet together. So just like I said, how we normally do Baddha Konasana seated, we're going to do it here on our backs. And here's where a block, you could even, if you have a couple of rolled blankets, you can roll the blanket, place that under your thigh. And what that does is it just allows your hips to relax a little bit more. So whatever you have around you that you can put to support the thighs. And then just resting here. Good. And then from here, we'll just remove our block or blanket, whatever you have. Go ahead and extend the legs and whatever you need to do to make yourself more comfortable in Savasana. So putting on some socks or covering up with another blanket. Have your legs about 6 inches apart. And then as you relax, just let those feet fall out to the side. Arms are a few inches away from the body, and then rotating the palms so that they're facing up. What that does is opens up the chest. And I'm going to come up to seated, but you stay in Savasana. And closing the eyes. And returning the attention back to the breath. Again, notice the inhale and notice the exhale. With your next inhale, let the abdomen rise first, then the chest, filling the lungs all the way up to the collarbones. And with your exhale, let the collarbones fall first, then the chest, then the abdomen. Drawing the navel to the spine. And just taking a few of these nice deep breaths. And focus on the physical body. Relax all the muscles from the feet all the way up to the crown of the head. Release any tension or tightness. Then focus on the mind. Release any thoughts, worries, or anxieties. Imagine you're laying in a field of flowers, gazing up at a brilliant
blue sky. And all those cares and worries are sitting on a big white puffy cloud. And as you're looking up, you watch that big cloud as it drifts on by. And allow yourself just a few moments to completely let go. Begin to deepen your breath. And then start moving your fingers and toes. Then the wrists. And the ankles. And when you're ready, bending both knees and rolling onto your right side in a fetal position. And taking a few breaths here. And then using your left hand to support you, pushing yourself back up into your seated position. And keeping the body relaxed and the eyes closed for another moment. Focus on the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice. And then we'll take one more deep cleansing breath. So take a nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.